Okay, I want to go over the revised standards with you, and I'm just going to hit the high points of the kindergarten from this presentation. So it looks like I'm skipping over some, but we're just going to go to the high points. So the first big revision was KCC 7, comparing numbers, and this one did say 1 to 10 previously, but now it's 1 to 20, and that's because some of your other standards, you count to 20 and compare 1 to 20. And yeah, anyway, you have several standards that go 1 to 20. So they just decided to go ahead and let you compare 1 to 20, and go ahead and keep some consistency between the standards instead of having one standard where you stopped at 10. And be sure when you're doing this that it says numerals. So numerals is defined as a symbol or the name. So that is what we sometimes refer to the numeral, but the number 3 and the word 3 are actually both numerals. So both of those are going to be used. One thing that's going to be tricky for kindergarten that you haven't had to tackle in comparing numbers is going to be the words. A lot of kindergartners sometimes will say like 11 teen and 12 teen because they don't follow the word patterns of your other teen numbers. So that will be just a focus point whenever you're going beyond 10 with comparing numbers. Our next standard I want to look at is KNBT 1, and this will actually help you support that, comparing numbers. But just understanding numbers 11 to 19 when we compose and decompose it's fine when you decompose 11 if you wanted to eventually decompose it into 9 and 2, but the standard, what we really want to do is let them understand that if you're decomposing 11, that's a 10 and a 1, or if you're doing 12, that's a 10 and a 2, and that these numbers are composed of a 10 and some 1s, and really understanding place value. 10s and 1s is what this standard is all about. So make sure they get that as the ground level, the foundation, before you try extending anything beyond that. The next one that I want us to look at that got revised is KOA 1, and this is where you represent addition and subtraction with objects, fingers, mental images, but they did set a limitation here in which all parts of the whole are within 10, so your add-ins, your sum, and this is with addition and subtraction. So it's also going to be your minuend, your subtrahend, your difference. All of those are within 10. It's going to look like this as well. So some limitations were set here. It seems like it's simplifying the standard, but they extended somewhere else the reasoning, and so that's why limitation was set here. So when you are Googling or looking for things for KOA1, be sure that you look for problems where they are limited to all parts of the problem being within 10, and make sure your students master that before you move on. Okay. KOA2, solve addition and subtraction, and this is where the extension is. Within 10 involving situations of adding to, taking from, putting together, taking apart with unknowns in all positions. And so what this is referring to is previously we just had our unknown right here, but now we're moving it to any position. Okay, so what this is doing is taking us from kids just being able to count and having that one-to-one more simple thinking to being able to count on, that level 2 counting, so that if you have this unknown right here, they're having to count up or count on. So if they counted 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, they actually write a 4 in the blank, which is kind of mind-blowing, I'm sure you know, for a kindergartner, but it takes you to a higher level of thinking. So that's why that previous standard set the boundary of all of your parts being within 10, because we want them to really understand addition and subtraction deeply by moving that unknown around, but we don't want to get crazy with the numbers. We want to go deeper instead of wider with these standards. So be sure whenever you're looking for materials for KOA2 that you do look for unknowns in all positions, because that's another Mississippi only thing. We're the only ones who decided to extend that thinking for our students, which I'm really proud of Mississippi for doing. Let's see. These are just some more examples. Let me find another standard. There are some new definitions in your glossary at the back of your standards that you want to look at. Okay, KG5, another standard that you already have, but it didn't differentiate between two-dimensional shapes and three-dimensional shapes. So we just want to be sure it mentioned just shapes before, that your kids know that two-dimensional shapes are flat and three-dimensional shapes or figures are something they could actually hold in their hand. So to do that, then you're going to need to let them draw the two-dimensional shapes and actually build three-dimensional figures. So whenever you get to that part of your units, let them experience that hands-on learning with those. So those are your big changes in kindergarten, your revisions to your standards. Be sure to be on the lookout for those changes, the extension of comparing to 20, the limitations, all parts within 10, the unknowns in all positions, and your three-dimensional figures, two-dimensional shapes. So that's it. Hope you have a great year.